Welcome to the channel. The biggest video I have thus far is titled The Worst Gun Ever. And it is about 4.5 million views at this point. It's a short, but it's about this gun. This is the Bond Arms Rough and Rowdy 45 Colt by 410 shotgun. This is a hammer fired double barrel derringer type gun that has to be manually loaded with a very odd kind of operating mechanism. I added the handle. It comes with rubber grips. I needed a little more something to grab onto, plus they just kind of look cool. But it's a single action 2-barrel manual extractor. Very rudimentary sights with a safety, cross bolt safety. That's how you flick it open. But I've gotten lots of comments on this gun about how, one, that I can't shoot, which, okay, fair enough. But two, that I'm using it improperly, that this is a belly gun. This is meant to be up close and personal, basically a phone booth gun, if you will. To which my response has been, fair enough, but it's obsolete. And of course, more comments come in, tell me how dumb I am, I don't know what I'm talking about, that's fine. But one of the comments I've recently got was from a guy who said he would like a long form review of this. And he said he'd watch it. So here we are. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this pistol through its paces. I'm going to set up some targets. We're going to test 45 Long Colt. We're going to test different 410 loads from self-defense to target loads and just see what happens. See what we get. See if maybe I'm the dumb one or perhaps you are. Let's get started on our test. Before we go too far, I wanted to go over kind of the ergonomics and the function of it. So this is our barrel release. Swings open, swings back towards you. It does have rifling. It's called the 2.5 inch. See if I can get that in here. So we have Rough and Rowdy 45 Colt / 2.5 inch 410. We do have some rifling. It's very hard to see. Let me point the gun at you. But there is rifling down there. I don't know if the camera's picking it up or not. But it is rifled, so we will get some twist on the barrel. Our hammer, obviously. Single pull trigger. This trigger guard is detachable. If you take that bolt out, this trigger guard comes off. I do not recommend ever doing that. There's our manual shell extractor. Not a fan of that either. This is an entry-level pistol. If I remember right, it's basically about $300. Takes up my hand. Let's see what else. Our sights, very rudimentary. You're not really going to be aiming too much with this. Kind of spoiler alert. Hammer back, cross bolt safety. Red means go. See our firing pin back here. Also the firing pin down there in the bottom. Kind of hard to see, but it is there. So, has to be manually cocked each time. So that's kind of a rough overview. For our accuracy test, we're going to be using a 250 grain XTP tipped hollow point from Freedom Munitions, who claims 850 feet per second. For size comparison, that's 45 Long Colt on your right. That's a 9mm full metal jacket on your left. Pretty big bullet. We've got our shoot and see target set up. I'm going to go back to a distance of about 7 yards because that's where the FBI tells us that most self-defense shootings take place. I'm going to shoot 5 shots. I'll shoot 6 shots since it's a 2-shot pistol, and that will give us our accuracy. I'll be shooting from a rest, 7 yards. Try to take as much of me out of it as I can and let the pistol shine. See what we get. Well, how'd we do? Not very good. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. From a rest, 7 yards. We are all over the place. Is that good enough to hit a man? Probably. Let's see if I can increase the accuracy. After all, everyone keeps telling me this is a belly gun. So I'm going to get a little bit closer. I'm going to move up to about a distance of 3 yards. That's about the time where you might want to take your first shot, and first shot accuracy is probably going to save your life more often than not, especially if they're armed with a knife, because if you can't get off a shot in 3 yards and hit, not going to end well. I'll get this pasted up 3 yards. We'll redo it, see what kind of accuracy we get. Now that's a lot better. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all within the 9 ring. I think that will probably work. So we've determined that if we're closer, our accuracy goes up. We're at 3 yards, all what, a fist size? Not bad at all. We can work with that. But it also fires 410 shotgun shells. So how much is the spread? Everybody brags about spread with a shotgun. How much spread are we talking if we improved our accuracy this much by coming up 4 yards? See what we can find out. I want to show you the round we're going to be using. It's from Winchester. It's called their Defender. Stop the Threat. 3 plated defense disc projectiles and 12 plated BBs. Assume they're plated in copper since that's what it says here. 410 gauge, 2.5 inches, and they claim a velocity of 750 feet per second. Here's what the round looks like. Kind of cool looking round, all black. You can see the disc there, at least the top. So I would assume the way they stack this is 3 discs and then the BB behind it and our wad. .410 9mm full metal jacket. Okay, so we've got 3 new targets set up. I'm going to be shooting at the middle target. We're going to see the other 2 are here just to see what our spread is. Again, I'm going to shoot from 3 yards. I'm going to shoot 2 shells of the Winchester Defender 410 and see what results we get. How'd that go? Our middle target, that's about where I was aiming. A little low, but with two different barrels. We've got some pretty nasty tearing there. As you can see the back side of the target. Just kind of blowing it out in a big time. Just, that's a bad day. Looking for BBs. I see kind of one here. I assume that was a BB. Not quite sure what that was, but it's definitely going through. Got another nick here. Some of this is probably the small wad. Well, got another neck shot on this guy, and another protrusion here up top. So I took out 3 people with 2 shots apparently, since we have a right in the face. Can't put a tourniquet on that. This guy's got a chance. But this is 3 yards. This is devastating at 3 yards, assuming the velocity's there. I don't think this is ideal. You're trying to hit this guy, and you hit 2 people standing next to him. I guess they were probably with him, or they just had it coming. Either way. Let's put up some new targets, fire 2 more rounds this time at 7 yards, and see how bad it really gets. All right, so there's our results from 7 yards. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of our 6 solid projectiles on target. Don't see any other hits from the BBs, nothing, which is odd. You'd think one BB might find its mark and actually hit something. It's also a little surprising that we only got our 5 discs to make contact here. But to be expected when you have the double stacked on top of each other barrels, that lower barrel is probably coming out at a lower point. But I was aiming in the same spot roughly, so pretty interesting results. Not one BB found its target, so that's interesting, to say the least. One of the things that happens though, whenever we shorten our barrel, our accuracy doesn't really change when we shorten our barrel, but our velocity changes quite a bit. I don't have any way to measure velocity as far as a chronograph or anything. But let's see if I can do something with that 45 Long Colt. See if maybe we can get a result and see what our velocity kind of looks like. So we've got a gallon jug of water. I'm going to sit this here, go back to our 7 yards, shoot with 45 Long Colt. Let's see if we can't catch that round in here and see what happens. We can kind of judge velocity based on that. If nothing else, we can at least judge effectiveness or lack thereof, or something in between. Let's do it. So what did we learn here? Remember, we're firing a 250 grain projectile hollow point from a 2.5 inch barrel at a distance of 7 yards. If we have a hole in, we have a hole out, not bad. We do not catch the bullet, but we also don't have a whole lot of damage. He still has a lot of fluid left in him. Let's see if we can't compare something and find something more out. So one of the biggest complaints, comments that I got the most on that original video was, oh, it's a boot gun, it's a belly gun, it's a purse gun, it's a this, it's a that. That this Bond Arms was so concealable. I would put it in my boot down here. I could just hide it anywhere, and then boom, when I need it, I have it. Great, awesome. There's one problem with that. This is a SIG P365X. The X meaning it's got a slightly bigger hand grip, holds 12 rounds, which is unloaded right now. Comes with a removable top plate, which I don't care about. But are these really that dissimilar? And when we look at them, compare them side by side, especially the Bond arms, when we come in and we look at the butt, we look at our handle, are they really that much dissimilar? Remember, this holds 12 rounds and has a detachable magazine. This holds 2 rounds and is one of the hardest things in the world to reload. Imagine under actual duress or a life-saving situation, life-threatening situation. I mean, to reload this is what you have to do. Theoretically, you would engage the safety. On this, to reload, engaging the safety is a very... this is a two-handed pistol, basically. So let's say we engage our safety, and we got really good at flicking it open. We still have to get our rounds out, and as you tilt it to get your rounds out, it wants to close on you. So basically, you have to, again, you're two-handing this pistol. Whereas the SIG, I have a button on the side. But I can hear what you're saying right now. This is a cost of about $300, whatever. I'm sure you can find it cheaper on the secondary market. And this is in the neighborhood of about $600 to $700. So we're talking apples to oranges. Okay, fair enough. Let me show you something. So again, we have our Bond arms, our $300 pistol. This is a Smith & Wesson M&P Shield 9mm. This is about the same price as this. This holds 7 rounds in its standard magazine, but it also has an extended magazine that comes with it. It holds 8 rounds, so it's a 7+1 with an 8-round magazine on the back end. Again, detachable magazine, 9mm, not dissimilar in size. Ergonomics, of course, are going to be much better. This being single stack, it's going to be concealable. But I can hear what you're saying now. This fires a 45 Long Colt or 410, so that's much more powerful than the 9mm. Let's put it to the test. We've got a whole new target set up, another shoot and see target. We're going to test the Smith & Wesson M&P Shield 9mm. I'm going to be shooting 115 grain American Eagle full metal jacket 9mm bullets. I'm going to go back 7 yards, fire 5 rounds. Let's see what kind of accuracy I can achieve. How'd we do? 7 yards, fired 5 shots, 4 of which are in the 10 ring, 1 in the 9. That's one heck of a group. So what does this tell us? Well, I guess it tells us that at 7 yards, the Smith & Wesson is a little more accurate with its I think it's a 3.1 inch barrel than our 2.5 inch barrel is firing 45 Long Colt. But what does that really tell us? It tells us that I shoot this better at 7 yards. It tells us that it's slightly more accurate at 7 yards, whether we're firing 45 Long Colt or we're firing our 410 defense shells. Let's test another aspect of this. So let's test another aspect of this. Reloading. We know our Bond arms holds 2 rounds, and that's it. Then we have to reload once we've expended those rounds. We know our Smith & Wesson, we know our SIG, we know all of our other mag-fed firearms are going to hold more than that. So let's see just how long it takes. What I'm going to do is I'm going to load 2 rounds of 45 Long Colt in it, set it in the holster, set it down, pull it from the holster, fire 2 rounds, then I'm going to reload with 2 of the 410 shells that I have staged here, just to kind of simulate what it's like to reload this. This is not like a concealed carry situation, but just let's put the odds in the favor of this pistol and just see exactly what we're dealing with. I'll have the safety on. Those are 2 rounds. And then try to close this without actually pointing it at me. Into our holsters. Okay. Take it off. One out. I'm sure I could improve it if I really worked hard at it. But just for comparison's sake, let's see what happens when I do the Smith & Wesson. So we've got a new target set up, 7 yards, same as I did with the Bond Arms 45-410. This time, we'll be shooting the Smith & Wesson MP9 Shield. We're going to do the same test from a holster. This is a crossbreed holster, my own personal holster. I've got the 7-round mag loaded with the round chamber, and I've got another 8-round mag fully loaded on the side. So we're going to fire, in essence, what was 2 full magazines of the Bond Arms, a total of 4 rounds. We're going to fire a total of 15, assuming everything goes well. Let's see what kind of hits we can get and how everything goes. Lock open. Got our 2 test targets side by side. 45-410 Bond Arms right here. Remember, we fired 2 of the 45 Long Colt, 2 of the 45-410 Defenders that have 3 of those copper discs each. So we should have a total of 8 hits. We have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Presumably one of these, if not 2 of these, one of these is probably the wad, but either way. We got 9 hits. The wad's gonna hurt. It'll punch through this. Will it take someone down? Probably not, but you're gonna feel it. But you got the rest of it. With our Smith & Wesson 9mm, 115 grain, what did we get here? We got, remember, 7-round magazine, 8-round magazine, total of 15 shots fired. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, possibly 15. It's hard to know down here, but the results kind of speak for themselves, don't they? But there is just one test left. So I've got a fresh jug set up. I've also got the jug that I shot with the 45 Long Colt Bond Arms sitting there for comparison. Still hasn't bled out. So I'm going to shoot it with a full metal jacket, 115 grain American Eagle bullet. Not even a hollow point. Let's see what happens. You be the judge.